I spent 22 years as a reporter for a Cincinnati newspaper, and most of the time I was there I covered health, consumer health, how to stay healthy, and then any new advancements in medicine. I've been healthy most of my life. I've always been a walker. I swim 2 or 3 times a week now to stay healthy. So it was really a surprise when March of 2014, I woke up one morning with this sharp pain in my right shoulder. I didn't know what it was, and it turned out to be shingles. So initially, my doctor thought that it was a pulled muscle because it was limited to that part of my shoulder, and there were no lesions or anything that had broken out, and those are kind of the hallmark of shingles. But a couple days later, when the lesions did show up and they started to get really itchy and painful, I was talking to my sister, and she had had shingles before, and she's the one that said, "Oh, it might be shingles." When people ask me what it felt like, I describe it as wearing a wetsuit that's 3 sizes too small. The hard part of the journey has been finding ways to get rid of the nerve damage that I experienced. I still can't wear brassieres that have metal clasps on the back because it lands right where the shingles broke out. I started to think of it more of a structural problem, so I saw a chiropractor. I mentioned, it's all on my right side, and I knew enough from being a health writer that meridians are associated with acupuncture, and they're kind of described as pathways that flow energy through your body. He knew an acupuncturist, and he had referred many of his patients to her. After my first session with her, my life completely changed for the better. I remember telling her 80% of my pain is gone. I couldn't believe it. I really could not believe it. So when I got shingles, I was 58, and at the time, the CDC recommendation was that people over 60 should get a shingles vaccine. Since then, a new 2-part shingles vaccine is available, and now the recommendation is that people 50 and over get both of those shots. When I was 67, I got the first one in December, and then the second one in March, and I really feel like I'm protected now. I've been retired for 2 years. It's the first time in my life I've had the time and the freedom to give back. I read, I think on Facebook, about the Cincinnati Type and Print Museum. I emailed the curator and said, "Can I be a volunteer?" And as soon as I walked in that place, it kind of took me back to my roots as a journalist, as a reporter, as a writer. I live 10 minutes one way from my daughter and son-in-law and my 2 granddaughters, and it's great to have family close by. If Camp Nana needs to be in session, Camp Nana is in session. If you're an older adult who's never had shingles, it's not something you want. It really is a debilitating thing, and the fact that we have a vaccine that can prevent it is certainly worth looking into.